already have everything. We're just going to have a breakfast at a Mexican joint. Well, we're going to go to Keno's so we can gamble and eat breakfast. No, we're going to go to El Ferlito's. You're setting it up. I'm just walking into it.
How did I set that?
No, but I think that it will be good, and it's good to connect. It's good to make relationship. I mean, one of the strongest things I think our attributes as this little church here in a backyard is that there's community. And we just want to help that community grow this year. We want to help connect and just so that we know if there's needs within our own community that we can help meet those needs. It's like, to me, that's what it's all about. And so look forward to this year, look forward to those things. And we're going to start the book of John today, the Gospel of John, and get us started, and that is Tino. All right.
Yay!
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody? Good. So, last time we got together, Steve was here, and Dave introduced him as a guy that could take a bottle of water and lead somebody to the Lord in about 10 minutes. And my takeaway from that day was that he did a lot of peculiar things. Things that some of us, if we tried, you might even get arrested. I mean, you walk up to go say, I want to clean somebody's toilet and I'm not charging you for it. Like, they might think that you're a, what is that called, 5150? Something like out of your mind. And it's just not typical, but the cool thing that, for me, what I walked away from that day was, I'm just here to show God's love. And I don't want any money. I don't care who you are. I just want to show God's love. I thought, dang, dude, those are pretty simple instructions. You know, it's like, how many times do we do things that is really what our motive is? We may or may not communicate it verbally, but it made me think that it's probably not a bad idea to express that. And that's what we're representing, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. And so that's kind of how I left off last year with that message. And so then we got together and said, okay, guys, where are we going next? And long story short, we ended up, let's do the Gospels, let's go to John, and Tino, you do chapter 1. In essence, that's kind of, didn't go down just like that, but that's where we landed. And I thought, I didn't really show my hand, but I was like, awesome. John chapter 1? I don't know it like the back of my hand, but I know it. You know what I mean? And I was excited, trying to hold it back because I didn't want anybody to read it and say, well, I don't mind taking chapter 1 if you don't mind. I was like, I'm not even giving that up, So the cool thing is that the Gospel of John, which is really different from any of the other Gospels, he's very unique in a few different ways. I'll explain some of those in a second. But the other thing is that his very first few words are in the beginning. And so here we are starting a new year. What better way than to start it with in the beginning and just start from scratch right there. And my prayer for this time, of course, is that the Holy Spirit would just continue not only to illuminate to us what the Word has, because whether we know it, whether we can learn something new, or whether we just need to be reminded again, as one of my good friends keeps telling me, is, yeah, Tino, we know, we've heard, but we need to be reminded sometimes. And the older we get, that sometimes becomes more frequent. That we need to be reminded more and more. So, and we've also been encouraged that when we're looking at a text, that we look at who wrote it, and who he was writing it to, and why, what's the message, and that kind of thing. And so John gives us a clue at the end of this book. So I'm going to jump ahead just for 1 second and read one verse. And it says, "These are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." So what he was looking to do was to provide believers in Ephesus with a fuller understanding about the life and ministry of Christ. And then more specifically, he wanted to give people some solid ground and have them a settled faith based on the words and the works of Jesus. Kind of like what we're still doing today. We still lift up the words and the works of Jesus. We still look to him to see what he was doing. And it is the thing that holds our faith together. So the differences, real quick, between John's gospel and the synoptic gospels. One is, instead of telling a chronological story of Jesus' life, John goes in by echoing from the beginning of time kind of story. In the beginning. And he did that for a couple of reasons. I think one is because there's this awesome story that's getting ready to happen here as Jesus comes on scene. This is a whole new thing. This is a new beginning. But at the same time, he wanted to be able to communicate to those who were familiar with the scriptures. And when he said in the beginning, their ears perked up, because those were the first words of the Old Testament.